Welcome back to Books and Beer. We are back at Interspace Brewing Company, and we are so excited to be able to sample their flagship beer today. It's called the Sky Farmer Farmhouse Ale. It is a saison, and I have to say, I could drink this all summer.
Yes.
It is refreshing and still has a really nice depth of flavor to it. So I am very excited about this beer. And what's even better about it being called Sky Farmer is there's just so many things we could have and did do for book selection. And I'm really excited about mine, but I'm also really excited about yours. So I'm going to have you go first.
We had some fun ones. I think I probably read like 6 books just to narrow it down to these 3. So I hope you'll like them. All right. So yeah, the first book I chose called Pennsylvania. It is an Amish sci-fi. Leave it at that. I didn't know those existed, but I'm very excited. It is very small. It's only 89 pages. I think I covered this in an hour. So I mean, great. Grab a beer, sit down, read this. Great little wait.
Kids down for a nap.
Yes.
Just grab the
Oh,
book
and
real
it's
quick.
good. It was actually good, Heather. Like, I checked this out, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read this. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. It was actually a good book, y'all. It ends on a cliffhanger. All the books in the series are about this size, so you could probably check out 3 or 4. Keep them on hand. Very fast read. So, it starts because this Amish farmer, young man, doesn't have the money to buy his own farm in Pennsylvania, so he is going to New Pennsylvania, which is an option apparently to go into space, to go to a place that is newly colonized and renamed New Pennsylvania. So he decides, because his family is not that wealthy, he'll never be able to own his farm. He decides to go into space. Sure, they're going to put him in a deep sleep. It'll take 9 years to get there, but he won't have aged at all.
Oh, interesting.
So, but he does have to say goodbye to his family pretty much forever. So, he decides he's going to do this. He's pretty much the first 2/3 of the book is him getting ready for this trip. So, he meets people along the way, makes friends, goes on the trip, ends up in New Pennsylvania, and everything is very familiar to him. It reminds him of home a lot. Sure. And they explain this to him because, it's kind of trendy to have the old Amish artifacts, sent here, people put them up, and so he's like, yeah, well, this looks really familiar. Not going to spoil the ending, because it's a cliffhanger, but, yeah. Like the last 2 pages, you're like, oh.
But you might as well get the second book while you're trying.
Yeah, because the last 2 pages, you're like, oh snap, So you definitely want to pick up the second book too. But no, it was good. Like I wasn't going to check it out because I thought this has to be ridiculous. I liked it.
More Amish sci-fi.
An Amish sci-fi. Yeah, it goes great with this farmhouse ale. Sky Farmer. Definitely a Sky Farmer.
Totally a Sky Farmer.
All right, the next book I chose. I really enjoy all the local races we have here. Yeah. We have 5Ks, 10Ks. We have all different fun runs, and we have cotton run I do every year. I love these races. What we do not have is the beer mile. We do have some really great pub runs here.
Yeah.
So that kind of got me thinking that it's that time of year where people are really getting out doing the pub runs around town. But there's actually something called a beer mile. There's actually a world championship for it. It's a serious thing. So
world championship for a beer mile.
Oh, yes. So
competitive.
This guy, you wouldn't believe it. This guy wrote this, Lewis Kent. It started in Canada. He's a Canadian college student. And first couple of chapters are just put you right in the middle of it. He's preparing for the world championship in 2 days, but he has to go and be on the Ellen show. And so he's doing this round trip to LA to go back to Texas to do the World Championship. and still trying to stick to his regimen, eating right and everything. But it's really neat because he just is so excited about the Ellen Show, and it really comes across in the writing. After that, it gives you the history of the beer mile, how it began, the rules, which are very interesting rules. A lot goes into play. You know, you have to finish your beer, you have to turn the bottle upside down to show that there's nothing left after you drink the beer before you can keep running. And then he gives you tips if you want to start training for something like this.
Excellent.
Because, yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, doing a mile sprint and drinking 4 beers.
I could already think of a couple people willing to read those tips and try it, though.
Because not throwing up is one of the rules.
Oh,
The beer mile. So can you imagine chugging 4 beers and then sprinting a mile?
that's horrible.
I know. So what it is, just to break it down, it's 1 lap, drink a beer, 1 lap, drink a beer, 1 lap, drink a beer, 1 lap, drink a beer. And the fastest they did it in, I want to say, is like 4 minutes and 24 seconds. I can't drink 4 beers that fast.
I was going to say, Lord knows I can't run that
I
fast.
can't drink 1 beer that fast. You know?
Beers are for sipping.
I
In
know.
my opinion.
But I mean, it's insane how fast. I want to say that's what the world record that it is. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane.
Wow.
But yeah, no, interesting read. Got it off Hoopla, ebook. But yeah, it's a really easy read too. So just how he talks about things, you can tell he's really passionate about it.
He's passionate about the beer mile.
Well, he was a runner in college, so he was already an endurance runner and a sprinter, you know. So good book though. Start off summer with. But anyway.
Excellent.
That last beer we had, the Frankenstein,
Yeah.
really put me in summer reading mode. That is a
Yes.
yummy beer for summer. And so I started reading summer books.
It is the saison for it.
Alright.
Anyway. I'm going to be so proud.
Well, Brenda Novak is one of my favorite writers. She does contemporary fiction. I really love her thrillers. She's one of those authors where before I think I picked up one of her books randomly, read it. It was a series. Read the whole series in like a week.
Yeah.
And I actually messaged her on Facebook and said, I really liked your book. Do you have like anything else you write like this? Because I've never really known any of her work. She's like, oh yeah, my husband really likes this series I wrote. Try this. So she's very personal. Like if you want to interact, she's one of those authors. She just responded like a day later. This one, though, is not one of her thrillers. She does, like, historical fiction, women's fiction, romance novels, and thrillers. This, I would consider one of her women's fiction. It's about 3 generations of women. The mother of 2 teenagers goes home to stay with her mom for the summer. Her husband's been missing a year and a half. She just needs a break. She doesn't know what happened to her husband. She knows that he left for work and is going abroad, and then never heard from him again. So now she has these teenagers who are also dealing with losing their father.
Right.
But during the book, you find out the mom has a secret. She wants to tell her daughter, but she wants to wait till the end of summer, so they have one last summer together. And her mom owns a bookstore on the beach, so a lot of this is taking place around books and about books.
Yeah.
So it's a really neat thing. Now the mom, she has a secret as well. She doesn't want to ruin the summer for her kids, so again, she's wanting to wait till the end of summer to let her kids know.
She murdered her dad. Her dad.
No, this isn't her thriller.
That's
This
a secret?
isn't her thriller books. And then the daughter also has a secret, but again, doesn't wants to wait till the end of summer. Just have that one last summer thing. Problem is, none of their secrets stay secret very long, and they all kind of accept where their new reality is taking them as a family and personally, and it's very sad at points, and there's many different topics of just women's relationship, questioning sexuality, there's rape, domestic violence, but again, the heavier stuff, it's kind of like a flashback, so it's not graphic.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say there's any triggers in this. It just talks about, things that happened in the past, and a lot of secrets coming out, but then right at the end, somebody shows up on the doorstep and just kind of blows their whole new life out of the water with new news, and they have to essentially find a new normal yet again. So it's really a good book, great for summer reading. I would highly recommend this, and just her as an author. She's a really fun author to read. So, what do you have?
I'm just so excited. Like I said, I'm just so excited about today and our book picks and where this Sky Farmer is leading me mentally. Because I know, we discussed a million books.
We did.
But this is when this is like 2 weeks in a row now that you suggested something to me, and I was just like, yes, I'll read that. It's Apollo. The last names of the illustrators are Fitch, Baker, and Collins. It's a graphic novel that is actually nonfiction. Now, before working for the library, it did not even occur to me that there could be graphic novel nonfiction books. But they're a great genre. Like,
kind of like science fiction Amish.
there you go. You just don't think
Didn't
those
even
go
know
together.
about them.
Anyway, but there's a growing section of these at our library, so go check out the book catalog. But it's literally a retelling of the Apollo 11 crew, who was the first crew to land on the moon. What I loved most about it is it didn't go the typical route of, here are the facts, and they landed on the moon, and it was beautiful, and one small step for man, and everything. Yeah. What I liked most is they actually went into visual detail about what the astronauts were thinking about. So, like, one of them, Mike, who was left orbiting the moon while the other two were on the moon's surface, got very lonely and had very interesting conversations with himself, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of why wasn't I chosen, a lot of that kind of thing. And Buzz had a tenuous relationship with his father, and you see a lot of that in the book. And Neil, wow, the one everyone knows, Neil lost a child, and that comes up in the book. It's a lot about what these men personally went through in order to fulfill this mission. And for that reason alone, I would suggest this. It is beautifully illustrated as well.
It is. That's what I noticed. I figured you would love it. The illustrations were great.
And so I cannot suggest this book enough. I think we only have one copy of it too.
Yeah.
So go get on the list. My other thing, there's a grand tradition, and I'm not even sure if it's farming communities or like quilting communities, but there is a tradition of putting a quilt square or painting a quilt square on a barn. They're called quilt barns.
And I had never heard of this.
Quilt barns.
That was crazy.
There is a quilt barn trail in Alabama, and one in several of the other states. But if you ever are on the highway and you pass like a farm and there's just a barn that you see and it has a gigantic square painted on it that looks like a quilt, that's what I'm talking about here. But we didn't have any books. I wish we had the Alabama Quilt Trail book, so I could have been just been like, hurrah! But it got me thinking about quilting in general, and when I went searching in the catalog, this came up. It's called Sewing Stories, Harriet Power's Journey from Slave to Artist by Barbara Herkert. It's juvenile nonfiction. There's a second copy in juvenile biography. And it's this girl who was born into slavery as a trade, learned quilt making as part of what the women did as slaves on the farm, on the plantations. And her love of quilting, and specifically applique, grows over her lifetime, and after emancipation and after she gets married and has children, she continues to make these quilts that start getting the notice of other people. So she starts doing exhibitions for these quilts she loves, and her family, unfortunately, like most families after the Civil War, was living in poverty, did not have very much money, so she started selling quilts. There's only 2 known quilts of hers that still live, that still exist, that we know of.
That's a cool quilt.
Yeah, one of them is in Boston at a museum, and the other one is, I think, at another New England museum somewhere. But both of the quilts are in here. Her verbatim stories about the quilts and what they represent are in here. What I love most about the book is it has a very childlike narrative that goes through most of it, but there's like little pop-out sections that give historical context and primary source documentation about her life. And from a historical perspective and making history reachable for a younger crowd, this was amazing. I really loved it. I highly suggest it. So, my Sky Farmer, my quilt barn.
You had to go there.
I had to go there. I knew there was a genre of like farmer romance. And that's a large topic in and of itself, but I actually narrowed it down to historical Western romance. Because, shock of all shockers, we have a lot of Texas Rancher romance books.
I'm sure we do.
So, I have my Texas Destiny by Lorraine Heath. This one's on Hoopla, so is the 3 books that follow. Yes, I'm on book 3 at this point. I only got this last week. They're quick reads. But I'm telling you, I actually only picked this one because I liked the cover. I was just like, gigantic silk dress with like a covered wagon in the background. This doesn't make sense, but I'll bite. But it has everything. It has mail order brides.
Interesting.
Severely disfigured Civil War veterans. Massive miscommunications that lead to way unnecessary drama. And of course, favorite of favorites, completely inaccurate historical details. So I highly suggest checking out Texas Destiny. I think the one after that is Texas Legacy, Texas Splendor, and there's like a 3.5 that I cannot remember the name of because I haven't gotten into it yet. I just know it exists. It's one of the kids of the guy in the second book. So it's 3 brothers. If you need something light and airy and just fun to read.
Sounds like it'd be good with this beer.
It would be great with this beer.
Summery beer.
It is.
So.
But those are my picks. I love your picks. I'm going to have to go check out your end one there. Go put your books on hold at the library. If there's a holds list, be strong, be patient, wait for the book.
Well, and this one's on Hoopla, this one's on Hoopla. You said one of
This
yours
one's on
Hoopla.
Hoopla.
So
And then there's 2 of
can't
these in the
wait.
system.
Go to Hoopla.
There you go. There
You
you go.
don't have to wait on Hoopla.
And if you have Hoopla on your phone, you can come to Inner Space
There you go.
and grab a Sky Farmer. That's it for us this episode, though. We'll see you next time in somewhere new. And if you haven't yet done it, I hope you have already, go subscribe to the library's YouTube page. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.